Hey teammates, welcome to my first episode of the Ladies Locker Room where the real game starts after the whistle. Today we have a very important guest. We have the Director of Sports for the Bahamas. This is Keslie Johnson-Sills. Hello and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, and I'm so honored to be the first.
I
Yay.
know, I'm so...
I'm excited to know that you even launched this.
Yes.
It was a great initiative.
Thank you. I think it was just time for us to create a space for women in sports, especially Bahamian women in sports. And it's really important for me to let the youth know that there are opportunities for them to work in sports. Because I know a lot of them are interested, but they don't really see a lot of us around. And so a lot of them change course, but I want them to know there's a space for you. And even if you don't see one, you could create one.
And if we can't create it, we're always obviously going to take it over one day.
Obviously, everybody knows that. But yes, so tell us a little about you, how you got into sports, how you got into this position, just a little background.
All right. Well, I started playing sports at the age of around about 9, 10. I wasn't good at all in primary school. It was just something to get out of the house. And I wanted to play with my brothers because being the only girl, they went on the basketball court, they were on the parks, everything like that. And I'm like, okay, I'm tired of playing with the Barbies because they didn't want to play with my Barbies. So I said, I'm going to follow them, my brothers and my bigger cousins. So everywhere they went, I went. And they said, if you're going to do this, you're going to have to actually compete with the boys. You can't cry if you get pushed down or anything like that. So we used to play bat and ball. We used to play pocking, but in Freeport Jones call it pocky. I don't understand. That's another conversation for another day.
But okay.
But I used to do everything with the boy until I literally started dressing like a boy because I just wanted to fit in. So I was referred to as a tomboy. And I remember in grade 7, no, it was in grade 8, I went to my first track meet and my brothers were like, why do we have to wait on you? I don't want to be waiting on you. We should be doing what we want to do. And my mom was like, if she's competing, y'all are waiting. Finally, they got out of the part where they had to wait on me, and my mom started trusting me with everyone else. So that was really good. And I was tired of them being like bodyguards anyway. But I played sports, basically every single sport in high school. As you know, we didn't have anything that we basically was a pro in or wanted to just dominate at that particular time. So I played basketball, volleyball, softball. I even played soccer. And I ran track, obviously. I made my first cluster team when I was in grade 9. I didn't do well at that level. And then grade 10, 11, and 12 when I did medal. I also made my first junior national volleyball team in grade 10 or 11, yes. That was in 1997. And I tried out for softball. I did well in it. And I was like, after one ball, let me know.
That was it.
Say, you know what? The girl I said the same thing. And plus, it was a hot sun just staring up. I said, no. So Tyler, she said, Kelsey, you could do this. You could play softball. But I never really was interested in softball like that. Even though I could play, I know the rules. I ventured into it just one time in college just to help the team. That's it. And then I played a little college basketball after my volleyball season because mainly I was more volleyball and track. Those were my first two loves. And basically track was my real love because of my mom. My mom ran track and I wanted to do everything my mom did, honestly, besides being a teacher because she became a teacher and I was like, I'm trying to teach these children. Right. I couldn't do that. So I did everything that she did. And then after 98, when I went to college, I continued on in track. When I came back, I was more dominant in volleyball. I said, you know what? Let's just hang up this track thing. So I just went into volleyball and I captained the team for a couple of years. My last volleyball national tour was 2016. And that's when we played in world qualifiers. We played in the third round. I got them in with all my other teammates into the third round. And then I said, you know what, that's my last national level. But I continued on in night league and it was a joy to see some of the players who I would have played against they were either coaching at this particular CBC that we hosted just a few days ago, or they were like either coaching, like I said, or they were mentoring or managing. And then there were a few exceptions who were still in the game. And they were trying to say, why you ain't playing? I say, sweetie, I ain't gonna lie. I can't take no fight. Shut up. I could barely take a two. But it's a joy. It's really a joy to be a female, a woman in sports. I mean, because we are breaking barriers. We don't get the attention that we are supposed to get. Kudos to all of the women. Every Bahamian woman who stepped on a field, stepped on a basketball court, hit a softball, volleyball. I mean, kudos to you. Because back in the day, if we are still having it hard as women, you could imagine when they were playing, the recognition, they didn't get nothing. So I always want to shout out those persons who paved the way for us. It's because of them. And I don't mind them saying that we couldn't carry their shoes in the gym or, fill their shoes as a sprint or whatever. Because honestly, see, girl, we couldn't do it. Back in the day, y'all was running barefoot and some of us still was running barefoot, right? But we really couldn't do some of the things that y'all did. The balance in terms of motherhood, prepping for national teams, stuff like that. I mean, I have mad respect for all the women who have played, who are still playing. And I look at Shawnee now and I say, girl, how you just do this? Shawnee is a mother.
It's a lot to juggle.
And she's still running. She's clocking times better than men. So you could tell women are powerful in sports. And we're not only on the field. We're not only on the court. We have cracked the glass ceiling in terms of administration. Yes. We have done so many things, and I am proud. I'm not only proud to be Bahamian, but I'm a proud Bahamian woman who have played, and we haven't dominated, but we broke the ceiling for other persons. So I try to encourage like my nieces, other females who are coming up, do it. Don't settle. And that's always my last word to persons when they ask me, well, why you? Why not me? Because guess what? I may be the first female director of sports, but I opened the door for so many others to come. And that was also the case for me when I was on ZNS, when I started writing, because the passion just went on from, sports, being in the field, to wanting to do more, wanting to express myself more. And I mean, like, persons on the WNBA, I noticed that they wanted to do their strike to get more money, equal rights. And I am all for that. I saw a lady about several years ago. She was on the field as an NFL official. Wow. I literally snapped that and I put that on my Facebook page. And every year that I'm reminded of that particular one event. We are doing so much. But obviously the men are overpowering us in a way because they've been in it longer, but they can feel our dominance and they have the respect that we wanted. They're now showing us that.
Absolutely. I completely agree. We are definitely starting to open those doors and get our feet in them. And everywhere you look, you see a woman now reffing the games, a woman now sitting in those seats that we never thought that they would sit in. I mean, even for you, I mean, you're inspiration to little old me in the Freeport office who just got in the door, and I'm looking up, I'm like, okay, there's a woman at the director seat. Like, there's hope for, those who want to come in and make a change. You could see yourself sitting at the big tables, and it's just a breath of fresh air to say, okay, I could see it. I could do it. It's been done, and it's an inspiration, it's motivation, and I'm just so happy to see it. So tell us a little bit how you even got into the more behind the scenes, I guess a lot of people call it like the front office staff of sports, and not being the coaches or an athlete. You're more so doing all of the events and kind of you're in charge of sports for the entire Bahamas. So tell us how you kind of got to that seat.
Okay, I remember working at the Tribune, and my guy friend who was the photographer at the Tribune at the time, I remember one time meeting Mr. Martin Lundy, and I said, after interviewing him, he left, and I said, you know what? One day I can be the director of sports. And it wasn't until like 2 years ago, I ran into the gentleman at Starbucks, and he said, Kelsey, you've come full circle. And I was like, what you talking about? He said, you remember when me and you were riding and you say, girl, you say, boy, I can be the director of sports. I can take this man job. I want to push more women in sports. He said, now look at you doing it. I said, man, I remember that conversation. He said, Kelsey, trust me. When I saw them named you as the director of sports, I called my wife
Wow.
and I said, she did it.
Wow.
And I said, really? And he called his wife and his wife came on the phone and she was like, yes, he told me. And I said, I ain't gonna lie, I
Wow.
don't remember, but I want people to speak things into existence because God is
Mm-hmm.
real. We always believe that we can do things on our own will and our own power, but God has known us from we were in the mother's
Mm-hmm.
womb, and He has directed our path. Sometimes we believe that we are ready, and we're not ready.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times when, even when I was at Zadnas, I was like, I'm ready to do certain things. I'm ready to do one or two other things than this. And every time, like, and I kid you not, it's just basically like me wanting to open up a store. And every time I started a new project, let's just use this, your podcast as an example. I would have had an idea to just do a
Mm-hmm.
podcast. But when I tried to do it, Megan, I could not do it at all. At all. I applied for other jobs. I went on the job interviews, everything like that. And they basically said, yes, you're a good candidate. They never
Right.
hired me. And I questioned it. Megan, I questioned and I was like, God, but why not
Mm-hmm.
me? And I remember when I went into NIB one day this year, and you may not believe this story, and your listeners may not believe this story, but this lady, I could see you getting married and I can see you positioning yourself into a new role. And you have basically broken the glass ceiling in terms of this new role because nobody is going to see it coming. And it's a gift from God because God has been preparing you for it. And from that day, I remember her. But I don't know this woman, Megan, from a
Mm-hmm.
can of paint. But I remember what she said to me. And I got married in 2022. I became officially director of sports in 2022. So 2022 basically
That
was
was
my year.
That was it for you.
And let me tell you, you may believe it or not, that was the roughest year of my life. Yeah. Megan, trying to put
All
away,
right.
getting positioned into the role of
Mm-hmm.
director. Now, between planning my wedding, I'm a newlywed, new staff, this
Oh,
all
everything
new
new,
to me.
yeah.
I've never been in charge of anything in my particular life in
Mm-hmm.
terms of staff members because I've always been either the third person or the second person, but never the person
Mm-hmm.
overseeing the staff, the complement of staff. But boy, that was a roller coaster ride. And I honestly thought that I could do it by myself. I thought that, hey, and this is my time, I can do it by myself. But God says, sweetie, you're going to need this
Mm-hmm.
village. You're going to need the village. And I am so grateful for my village. I am grateful for persons like yourself, Mr. Norris Bean, Carrie Baker, all of the sports officers, because I do have a vision and y'all buy into the vision and then y'all run and y'all make the vision better. So whatever we have done in the Department of Sports, not only in Nassau, but in Freeport and Abaco, Eleuthera, Long Island, it has been a collective vision of
Mm-hmm.
everybody. I would say, hey, would you think about this idea? Norris would say, let me bounce it off the team. Then I'll say, Carrie, Colleen, would you think about this idea? And they'll say, yeah, let's bounce it off the team. And then we were able to build on
Mm-hmm.
ideas. So now we have more money in terms of funding. We have more persons paying attention to
Yep.
sports. We have an inclusive sports for the first time in the history of the Bahamas and track and field for nationals. We added special needs, special education to our
Wow.
enrollment. So we were able to allow them to compete at high school nationals, primary school nationals. Now, as you know, we've gotten a complement of certified lifeguards, everything like that. So I am eternally grateful to the Father above for the opportunity, as well as the government of the Bahamas. But most importantly, I am more than blessed to know that my village, which people would call my staff, I don't call them my staff, I
My
call them
village.
my village in the sports department, we are on the move and we are ready to make sure that not only Nassau, Freeport, but the entire Bahamas is feeling the power of sports. So that's how it
Mm-hmm.
started. That's how it's going. And in the next 5 months, when you come to me, I'm pretty sure that I'll have more exciting news.
Well, we're looking forward to it because I'm gonna schedule you in for the next 5 months for update so we can see what's going on. But yeah, I definitely feel that I resonate with a lot of what you said, just because when I returned home, and I think the last NACAT, that was 2022, right? It was right here in Freeport, and I just happened to be home. I was on a break from school, and I just happened to be home, and somebody told me this man that was my hairdresser neighbor, who she just happened to mention that I was always studying sports, and I had an opportunity to work with the Charlotte Panthers, but COVID happened and I lost that opportunity. And he was just like, you need to come home. He was just like, no, more people need to know that women out here studying sports and Bahamian women. He's like, you need to come home. And at that time, I'm like, to do what? What would I do at home? And I knew I didn't want to, I couldn't go into teaching. I couldn't do the PE teacher because that's a special calling, you know? Okay. That is a special calling. No, not at all. So I know I really didn't want to go into the schools, and I was just like, I just don't know where I would fit in. And I just was very determined not to fall into into me going to school, getting these degrees, and then coming home and not utilizing them. And I just was like, no, I need to work in sports. If I do anything else, I can be idle. I'm not going to be focused. I need to work in sports. And he was just like, this big track meet going on, why you just don't go there and see who you could talk to? And I said, I don't even know who is who. I've been living in the States for 8 years. And I'm like, I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to start. And he was just like, you trust me? And I was like, I don't really know you, but okay. And he told me, he was like, meet me at the sports complex and I'm going to see if I could get you to speak to somebody. Like, you just need to speak to somebody. And he spoke to one police officer, and the police officer, he walked me straight up to Minister. And he was just like, Minister, you need to speak to this young lady. And this me nervous. I'm like, oh Lord, look, I come out here and wearing tights and a cap. You were there? And I was like, look how I come out here, tights and a cap. I said, oh Lord. And he was just like, just tell him. And I told him, and Minister was just like, no, you need to come on board, because I think, like you and we're saying, I think he also wants to get people who have a passion for sports in, right? And he was like, oh, like, where you going? What you mean you ain't staying? Like, yes, there's an opportunity for you here. And literally my whole life, because when I went back, he was just like, you could go back and pack up your stuff, but you need to come home. And just coming home and like being introduced to this new world and working in sports and being able to create programs to not only help the children in school, but also like the adults, because there's so many of them still active.
Fulfilling and rewarding, isn't it?
There's so many of them still active. I had no idea the night league was so vibrant. Like, they are active out there, the night league, the softball, basketball, volleyball. I'm like, also, like, these kids need to know that after high school, they don't have to hang it up. Like, you have so much more opportunity. And I remember when I was in school, there were more opportunities. I mean, and that's something I want to try to bring back as well. I know we used to have these kind of seminars where I guess Clearinghouse used to come down and just educate parents and stuff like that. And I don't know, I'm just very appreciative.
Because literally, I was sitting here this morning because I'm on casual day to day, and I don't know who's be on casual day and still doing the government's work, but I literally was doing our calendar, and on our calendar, I have Literacy Week, and then it talks about how we're gonna ask them to do seminars with young kids to say how to prepare for college, and then I have something said, it's called Decode the Deal, breaking down a contract, because we have so many Bahamians who are actually signing contracts, but they don't know the underlying. So I'm right now on my phone this morning calling persons, hey, listen, I need you to be a part of this symposium. I need you to do this. I need you to do that. So like I would have mentioned earlier, it's fulfilling, it's rewarding, but to know that you're also educating persons. Because Megan, honestly speaking, If you had the knowledge, if my mom, if other persons had the knowledge that we have access to now, I think the Bahamas, Bahamian athletes would have been way further than that we are.
Agreed.
We have talent that is
Right.
unmatched. And I'm not just talking about the talent that we all know about in Providence as well as Grand
Mm-hmm.
Bahama. But when you go into the family
Yep.
islands and you see the kids, they don't have the resources like we have in the capital and the second city, but they're not giving up. National High School, Los Andros, their squad was
Wow. Yeah.
phenomenal. You had girls and boys literally competing. They were competing with the
Mm-hmm.
BMESs, Tabernacle. They were literally up in the
Wow.
finals. It dawned on me, and I was like, listen, we got to do more
Mm-hmm.
expansion. And we have to get, and this is what I try to get the team and yourself, get out of the walls. We only talk in the
Mm-hmm.
walls, but the programs have to get outside of the walls, and we have to reach communities. And we have to reach persons who are not only sports inclined. We have to reach that person who may be interested in
Mm-hmm.
statistics, who may be interested in
Right.
analytics and sports medicine. Not everyone is going to be the
Right.
athlete. So this is why I charge everybody in our department to think about other programs outside of that. This November, I've asked y'all to do an adult water swim, aerobics exercise class. Get them back
Mm-hmm.
active. Let's go into the communities. Let's do more community-based programs. We've relied so heavily on the federations to do, but it literally takes us in the department to make sure that it is
Right.
done. Let's identify the funding. If you come to me early and you say, this is the program that I want to do, I'll be able to identify the funding
Mm-hmm.
early. And if we can't, we'll make a case to the Ministry of Finance to make sure that it's done. But we can't allow kids to be on the streets with a sponsorship or anything like that. It can happen, but we too have to put the groundwork in to make sure that they are getting the opportunities that we never
Right.
got. And even with the opportunities that we got, let's expand on it. I always tell people, if you graduate high school and college, high school, that means your child is supposed to graduate college. And then their child is supposed to go and get the
Right.
master's. You understand? We build. So it's like a staircase. So, and I want us to be able to crescendo. That's what they call it in the field. But it's fun. It's really fun. Being in sports is
Yes.
fun. It's a lot of work, but as long as you find the balance, and I'm still trying to find a little balance, but as long as you find the balance, it'll work.
I agree. And I wouldn't be doing any of my sports people and service if I didn't ask, because everybody always asks, how do we go about facilities, gaining facilities, getting facilities, sponsorship for facilities?
Let me say some more on that.
Facilities.
The two F words are always key.
Facilities
Facilities and
Yep.
funding. Now, I must admit, we've invited the federations to come in and speak with us so we can see their plan. We need their
Mhm.
vision to where they want to go. So now we can invest in their vision as well. A lot of people believe that they have to be competing in a big gymnasium in order to excel, because that's where we see on the television. But then I bring you back to Buddy Hield. Buddy Hield went out on the outside court. It has to first be within you. The determination, the passion has to be in you first. Yes, the government is going to do what is needed in terms of building the facilities or whatever, but we need to see and we need to know that the need
Right.
is there, right? Why should I build a cricket field in Inagua
Playing
if nobody's
cricket,
playing
right.
cricket? I might as well just go and build a basketball court on the island of Inagua because more persons are interested in basketball. You know? So we just need to see that the need is there. We're going to invest. We're doing a lot of investment. We're doing a lot of investment through facilities and funding. I think we have exceeded our budget last year in terms of national teams, making sure that all of the federations were properly funded, and we did do the financial commitment to them as well as those in the communities. This time around, we've seen a growth in sports tourism. So you can see where we're not only saying that we can do it here, but we're bringing the action to
Right.
you. So you can see through World Relays, NACA, we have all of the volleyball, the basketball tournaments and stuff like that. So all of that also requires funding and giving our people more exposure to the global side of
Hmm.
sports, where they can see these people who they may not necessarily see compete. So we're trying our best. I don't want to talk too much on funding. I don't want to talk too much on facility because let me tell you, people is holding you to your
They
word.
do. Yep.
And I want to say I'm going to build one gym for Megan down in 8 Mile Rock. And then next week,
Boy, and then they clip this, they'll
so
clip this, and then we'll post that right on Facebook.
exactly. So I'm always a little careful as to what I say and how I explain it.
Right. That's completely understandable. And like I said, I wish there was I mean, there probably are ways because a lot of times, especially with, our people, if they don't see it, it ain't happening. So maybe I feel like as if we can, as a ministry, we could highlight a lot of the things that we do. Just, I don't know. I'm not really certain about our
Do a better job
socials.
in
Yeah.
terms of our marketing, our promotion, and our
Right.
communication.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Because we are in the digital age where social media, everybody goes on social media. So, like you said, we probably can do a better job, and I'll jot that down so we can have a little more social media
Mm-hmm.
access and presence. So we'll be able to show what we're
Right.
doing.
So they could
You
see,
know,
they'd be like,
some
oh,
of the
okay.
impacts that we're making.
Okay, I see, they move and they a little calm the behavior people a little bit.
Yeah.
We working.
Because if you're on social media nowadays, basically they say you ain't doing
Okay.
nothing.
But lastly, I would give you this opportunity. What is one thing where I guess within the next, let's skip 3 years, you would like to see happen within sports in our country?
That's such a big agenda, but there is a plan. One of the things that I want to see us be able to do, and I don't want to sound a little biased, but I would like to see more women get involved. I want, and this is why I've set up so many educational programs. I want us to be able to have a foundation where, and the resources where young persons and even persons who aren't competing will be able to learn from the past mistakes that we would have made. So I would like to see more educational programs in place. I really, really want us to go more into the communities, into the grassroots communities. And that's why I would have partnered with all of the urban renewal centers for the summer. Let's get these kids, let's touch them now. Let's get going. And like I said, we don't have to always rely on federations and associations. We can do that through our programs. We have done an excellent job in terms of certifying persons in CPR, lifeguard, stuff like that. So that's another educational program that I would like for us to continue on. Some of our persons are now being employed through some of the cruise lines, stuff like that. So we have a better employability rate. We've also seen a growth in persons who are now coming into our summer program, and they're not only being instructors, trying to teach the kids, but we now have the career in sports aspect where we're trying to place them into the different companies and stuff where they're able to actually go in and learn what they want to learn. Like how you said you would work with the Panthers. We're actually trying to place them in places like that. I would like to see more of a family island outreach. And this is why I've included every year more. I've expanded the programs into the family islands. So I would like to see that. I know for sure that we are updating the national sports policy. So because we are now updating it, we'll now see more changes and more alignment in terms of connecting the family islands, because there are a lot of things that we placed in the national sports policy that will give us the opportunity to do that. 3 years from now, I want to make sure that we have more federations at the AB level. I want to be able to say that we have more teams. I want to be back where in 2008, where we had about 6 to 7 disciplines competing at the Olympic Games. I want us to be on that trajectory path. So I would have asked the federations to let's do more certification courses. Let's do more to educate, to inform all of those persons who are participating in their particular sports. I'd like to see a better partnership with the federations, more workshops. And most importantly, I want to be able to go back to the primary school level and say, hey, this is the route. We're going to water the plant from the root instead of pouring the water on the top
Yep.
of the tree, because when you pour the water on the top of the tree, it's only reaching certain branches. But if you do it from the bottom, which is the root, you're going to get to see every part of that tree flourish. And I also want to encourage people to let them know that not every tree in the forest bear at the same time.
Right.
We go into a garden and we expect to see the mango, the canab, the dilly. Man, everybody have a season. Yes. So we have a plan. We're going to work on our plan. Sometimes we may have to have a year plan, a 6-month plan to make sure that we're going on the right path, but hopefully everything that we've set out for this year and going into next year, we'll be able to successfully roll them out. And that will be like the foundation in terms of how we can expand our programs and how we can expand the programs as well as sports in the country. I know the government of the Bahamas, we're working feverishly on some of the international partnerships that will yield a lot of benefits for the country. So there is a plan. Like I say, allow the tree to grow. Don't just go up in the sky and say, okay, now it's time to allow us to grow the tree.
Absolutely. Right? Well, sounds good. We're going to continue to start watering, and hopefully we bear some good fruits. And I have all the faith in this ministry, and like you say, the village around our village. Obviously
we have a strong village now, Megan. You have to shout at the village. We do. We have a very strong village, and like this summer we got so many congratulatory messages for not only our summer program, but the way we've executed a lot of our programs. Now, we still will have some of the naysayers, but it's our job to make them believers in what we are doing. And the only way we can do that is by executing our programs and ensuring that we do have a plan so they can buy into the vision. A lot of people only walk into the city, but they don't get to see the entire setup of the city. If persons who come here on the cruise, they only see Cable Beach and probably
bits and pieces,
but it's more to us. So that's why I say let's buy into the vision, and when we buy into the vision, we'll be able to share our vision, and then persons will buy into it.
Absolutely, I agree. I'm here for it. I'm locked in. I'm part of the village myself, so we're gonna get this. We're gonna get this together. We're gonna get this moving. But I do want to say thank you so much for on your casual day hopping in the ladies' locker room.
Listen to me. It ain't as casual as I thought it would have been. It's more like workshop. A workshop, work and casual mixed together. And one day I'm gonna have a good casual.
I hope that for you.
But today wasn't.
I hope that for you. I really do hope that for you. But thank you so much for hopping on. I hope this ain't the last time you hop on, and because this is an ongoing podcast, we gotta shed the light.
I mean, I hope you'll have your podcast and we can promote our month, which is November. So make sure lock us.
Absolutely, you'll be back.
Alrighty, thank you so much.
Bye.
All right, bye bye.